Did we really go to the moon and walk on it?
Ooh, we're going right to that one. All right,
This is coming up again.
I know
in big ways.
Yeah, and you still hear people that are saying, we didn't go to the moon, and here's some proof and all that stuff.
Because the proof to me sounds credible, some of it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
But it's more of that. The proof is the way that I like to do is I like to flip it around. Mm-hmm. And you can nitpick every little picture and every little video and say, oh, well, how did they do this? That game's going to go on forever. They're going to say, well, what about this picture? What about that picture? And then if you explain it and they say, okay, yeah, but what about this picture? The way that I like to flip it around is the onus is on them. It's not on me to prove that did or did not go to the moon. It's on them to prove that every picture is fake. They have to show me every picture is fake, not one or two pictures here or there, every one. And so if I show them a picture of astronauts walking and bounding on the moon, and they can't explain how do they do that, well, what are we talking about?
Because somebody was there filming.
Somebody was there. They were walking on the moon. You can't explain how they did that, then what are we arguing about? So the onus is on them to prove all of them fake. So don't give me one or two. You got to prove them all. Mm-hmm. How come? This is what I always like to say, is if we faked that gravity, because the moon gravity is 1/6, and they're hopping along on the moon. They're moving in a way that's completely unlike on Earth. They are kicking up dust, that the dust flies up with normal force but falls with 1/6 gravity. Every little thing is moving like that. And how do we fake that? And I think, okay, we've had movies since then. Matt Damon goes to Mars on The Martian. Mm-hmm. He's on Mars, where Mars' gravity is different than Earth. So we could do that for Neil Armstrong, but Matt Damon on Mars is walking and working just like he's on Earth. And you know why? Because they can't fake it for Matt Damon. Mm-hmm. And so, sorry, I'm getting worked up.
No, I love it. This is why we ask the questions.
Another one. We'll just say, we'll throw Brad Pitt in there. Mm-hmm. Brad Pitt at Astra, they go to the moon. Mm-hmm. He's on the moon. He's walking around. He gets off an escalator, and there's a little sign that says, "Welcome to the moon," and everybody's walking around like it's Earth gravity. Can't fake it for Matt Damon. So, man, sure, we can fake it for, yeah. So it's all these claims are. It's like, yeah. So you have to prove to me that that's a fake.
So you believe we did?
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
No doubt about it.
And the other conspiracy theorists say, oh, it's all a big NASA propaganda thing. I'm like, okay, what about the Russian pictures? Mm. The Russians flew the other side of the moon, took pictures of it, go to space and all the time. Do you think we would want them to fake it too, and we wouldn't call them out? Oh yeah, well. I always love this. They're like, oh, the Americans faked all the pictures. And we're like, okay, the Russians faked the pictures? And they're like, yeah, they probably faked pictures. So imagine the Cold War. The Soviet Union sends a spacecraft to the back of the moon, takes a picture of the back of the moon.
The dark side.
The far side of the moon,
yep.
Nobody's ever seen. They take a picture of it. And the Americans see that picture, and they don't call it out as a fake. Like, we're in a war with you, basically, to get to the moon first. Mm-hmm. And if they faked it and we didn't call them out, and I'm like, so you're saying we didn't call them out because we were going to fake our own picture 3 months later?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you Russians, no, yeah, you guys did it because we're going to fake our picture later. So, yeah, thanks for faking your picture before us. Great, good, thanks. I mean, it's ridiculous. And the Chinese, that they can go up and do these things and land on it, why wouldn't we call them out as fakes? There's no reason why. And India and Japan, all these European Space Agency, they can all send things to space, and we're all in it together because we're all really friends with the Russians and Chinese right now.
Correct.
So, I mean,
we're buddies.
Really, that makes a lot of sense.
So we're going back, supposedly, we're going back to the moon. What's
Yeah.
the story about this?
Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna dial it back.
No,
down
it's
now.
good.
So,
Let's go.
Yeah, I get worked up about that, guys. All right, so now I'll go down to 10.
That we
now.
are- that
I
we're-
was at 11 there. Now I'm gonna go down to 9 or 10. No,
So we're going back.
Yeah, and so there's this new mission called Artemis where they're going to send people back to the moon with these crews that are going to go out there. I have mixed feelings about it, and I'll be honest, because it's like, are we going to be treading any new territory? Are we going to be doing anything new? And it's, there's a lot of things with space missions as, it wasn't the old Star Trek show going where no one has gone before. And it does seem like in the recent years, we're going where we've already been before. And that was actually my line for when William Shatner went to space. Like he goes up
Yes.
for 15 minutes and then comes back down. I was like, Captain Kirk going where dozens have gone before. But anyway, going back to the moon is exciting in the idea of the only way that I can really get on board with it fully is if it is practice
For
Mars. Going back to the moon doesn't really hold any really great strategic or scientific value to us that I can see that we haven't learned already. We have landed on it with 6 missions. We've landed on with rovers. We have an orbiter going around it, taking all the pictures we ever really need. So going back, this may be wrong. I don't have the imagination or something, but I don't really see a moon base being a viable thing because it doesn't help enough to get us to where we want to go, because we don't want to live on the moon. Mm-hmm. That's not the future for our escape plans. So Mars is really the place we want to go and explore more. So if this is a practice to Mars, I'm on board. If this is let's go to the moon just to go back to the moon again just because we want to, because it's been 50 years and
we need something to do.
We're having our midlife crisis,
Yeah.
and we need to go back there. I'm not so excited about that. But and that's the thing is, will it garner the same interest that it did 50 years ago? I don't think so. So I think for a PR standpoint or like an inspirational standpoint, I don't think it's going to have that same impact, but it might. You never know. That thing had a cultural impact.
Yeah.
And so, you go to the eclipse is, for me, I think we're going to see how that inspires people in the Midwest, I think, especially going forward.
It'll probably inspire some people and some kids to want to be astronomers.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And so, going back to the moon, I think has that impact too, that you could see, that there's futures as being astronauts, which probably 10 years ago probably wasn't the case, because it did seem like everything was kind of shutting down with the manned space programs. So, but yeah, if this is a kickstart to something more, let's do it.